Hello students, welcome to Go Math Lesson 3.6, Commutative Property of Multiplication. The essential question for this lesson is, how can you use the commutative property of multiplication to find products? Let's take a look at this example. Dave works at the bird store. He arranges 15 boxes of birdseed in rows on the shelf. What are two ways he can arrange the boxes in equal rows? Let's arrange the 15 boxes of birdseed in 5 equal rows. To do this, we will use these 15 tiles. So I have pulled over 5 tiles to create my 5 rows. Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and row 5. To help you picture these as rows, let's put lines between the tiles. Now we will keep filling the rows with equal number of tiles until there are no more tiles. Now we have 2 tiles in each row, and finally we have 3 tiles in each row. So 5 rows of 3 equals 15. Now let's suppose Dave arranges the boxes in 3 equal rows instead of 5. Let's begin with these 15 tiles. So I begin by pulling over the first 3 tiles to make rows 1, 2, and 3. I will add in the lines again to help you visualize the rows. Now we will begin to pull over an equal amount of tiles into each row until there are no tiles left. Here I have 2 in each row, 3 in each row, 4 in each row, and finally 5 in each row. So, 3 rows of 5 equals 15. Just as you saw with 5 times 3 equals 15 and 3 times 5 equals 15, the commutative property of multiplication states that when you change the order of the factors, the product stays the same. You can think of it as the order property of multiplication. Let's take a look at another example of the commutative property of multiplication. Here you have 2 bird cages with 3 birds in each cage. There are 6 birds altogether. So 2 groups of 3 equals 6. On this side you have 3 bird cages with 2 birds in each cage. That's still a total of 6 birds altogether. So 3 groups of 2 also equals 6. So let's think of it this way. Facts that show the commutative property of multiplication have the same factors, just in a different order. So 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. Now let's open up to page 59 in your Go Math workbook. Remember, you can pause this video at any time you need to work the problem out on your own or catch up. The directions say, write a multiplication sentence for the model. Then use the commutative property of multiplication to write a related multiplication sentence. Remember, related means it uses the same factors, just in a different order. For number 2, I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. And in each of the rows, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 counters. And remember, if it helps, you can draw the lines to split your rows. Now to solve 6 times 4, I just need to count my counters. In the first row, there are 4 counters. 4 counters plus another 4 counters equals 8. Add 4 more to that, you get 12. Then 4 more equals 16. 4 more equals 20. And finally, the last 4 gives us 24. So 6 times 4 equals 24. Remember to use the commutative property of multiplication and write a related multiplication sentence. That means we must flip the factors around. So 4 times 6 also equals 24. Now let's look at problem solving number 5. A garden store sells trays of plants. Each tray holds 2 rows of 8 plants. How many plants are in one tray? First, I will create an array using 2 rows of 8. Then I will count the counters to see how many plants are in one tray. Here I have 1 row of 8, and when I add another row of 8, that equals 16. So 2 rows of 8, or 2 times 8, equals 16 plants in one tray. Now let's look at number 6. Jeff collects toy cars. They are displayed in a case that has 4 rows. There are 6 cars in each row. How many cars does Jeff have? Once again, I am going to create an array, drawing 4 rows with 6 counters in each row. When I have completed the array, I will count up the counters to see how many cars Jeff has altogether. Go ahead and pause the video to draw 4 rows of 6. Now let's count our counters to find the total number of cars Jeff has. In the first row, he has 6. And 6 plus another 6 equals 12. Adding 6 more to 12 gives us 18. And finally, 18 plus 6 more gives us 24. So 4 rows of 6, or 4 times 6, equals 24 cars. Now turn over to page 60 and complete the lesson check and the spiral review. And don't forget to show your work. Also be sure to assess yourself using the numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4. Write the number at the top of your page. We will see you tomorrow, students.